it's Webs here, and it's time to freeze our opponents in Hearthstone Mercenaries. Given the time of year it is, I wanted to do a Frost-based mercenary team. However, there's only 3 Frost-based mercenaries currently, but that doesn't stop us from doing a build because Diablo is a perfect mercenary to actually synergize with the Frost synergy, so we can slow down our opponents and get a big Diablo swing turn. While I know this isn't the most unique mercenary video that I've ever put out, I do like demonstrating the potential behind certain mercenaries that don't really see that much play, and in this case it would be Jaina. Between Varden and Jaina, there's actually a lot of potential for a future Frost-based mercenary team altogether. We just need 1 or 2 more for it to actually be useful, and given the fact that the theme of the current Hearthstone set is Alterac Valley, I'm going to assume we're probably going to see some type of additional Frost-based synergy for mercenary mode when the new mini set comes out. Until then, I'll make do with what mercenaries we actually have access to. So the starting up lineup for this build is actually quite simple compared to some of the other builds that I've put out in the past. You want Lich King as your first mercenary with Proudmoore as his equipment, just so Frostbite is a AoE slow instead of one target. This is the main reason you're actually running him in the build. The next mercenary that you're going to want to use in this build is Varden. They are half of the reason why you're actually running the Frost synergy in the build, and you're just spamming Flurry most of the time with them. The equipment that you're going to use is Chilling Amulet. This actually doesn't require you to do any tasks with Varden at all, since it is their level 30 equipment. If you want to get a little bit more high rolly, you could go down the path of Ban of Frost, which is their 7 task equipment. The third mercenary you always put down is Jaina. You're using her mainly for the ice flows, just so you can ramp up Varden's AoE, and you use Ice Block Talisman as your equipment, just because this allows her to survive for quite a few more turns if your opponent doesn't focus her down. She basically is the Brucon of Frost-based synergies for mercenary mode as it currently stands. The 4th mercenary you put down in this build is the only tricky part. It depends on if you actually manage to kill one of your opponent's mercenaries or not before they killed one of yours. If you kill one of their mercenaries before one of your own, you're going to want to put down Cairne with a reincarnation equipment. This is for 2 reasons. Your other mercenaries you start out with actually will have a huge target on their back compared to Cairne, and for the fact that you won't have necessarily a AoE slow on all your opponent's mercenaries, which is why you want to try to wait to use Diablo until you do have a guaranteed slow or a guaranteed speed up on your mercenaries. If they manage to kill one of your mercenaries before you kill one of theirs, Diablo is the 4th mercenary you're going to want to put down, just because of the fact you do have the slows from Lich King and Varden to make it where the Fire Stomp actually just nukes their entire board. And you're going to use Black Soulstone as your equipment for this build, just because this increases the survivability of Diablo by quite a bit. And the final mercenary in the team that you want to put down is Cookie, who's mainly in here for appetizers, but he does have some positive synergy with Diablo through Go Fish. This is probably one of the only builds where Go Fish is actually useful to have leveled up, just because this will count for the Fire Stomp of a inactive mercenary on your opponent's board, thus allowing you to do more damage to your opponent's mercenaries than you normally would be able to. And it's a great way to round out the team with a mercenary that just increases the survivability of all your other mercenaries. With that being said, let's go find some games. Alright, so we're going to do our normal setup of this. I think we're the only one with a cookie, so that's actually pretty good. Interesting. I want to kill Brucon first, but at the same time, the issue with this build is you're always going to want to kill the center one first, which makes it a little bit harder to change up your game plan. Yeah, getting rid of Brucon is probably the safest bet here. Though I don't know how we're going to do that per se. They're going to kill Lich King, which I don't honestly care. Out of all the mercenaries that they could focus down, Lich King is probably the safest actually for us. This is doing 12. Oh, we could... yeah, let's do this. Because I doubt they'll be able to heal that up for any more Yeah, that works. Okay, so what are they going to put down next is the question. Cairne, so they're... Okay, I know their game plan. Though we should have probably focused on the Cairne. We're going to put down our Cairne of our own, though. Cookie, that different. Let's do that, that. I'm assuming the reason why you're running Blink Fox is just to add an additional, like, target on the back of a mercenary. Gonna freeze 2 of them. I did that. War Stomp. Then... So, Diablo should be their last mercenary, I think. But we've killed, like, their entire team. I don't think there's any coming back from this. Oh, I guess they give up. Alrighty. So, normal setup of Lich King, Varden, and Jaina. Oh shit, they're a mostly caster build. Interesting. Oh, they're nature. That makes it less interesting. We're gonna try to get the Malfurion down. We're just gonna focus down Lich King, which is actually fine by us. Sure, we get too slow, but if Varden can kill this... Oh, we should have probably swapped to the freeze the entire board. Lich King is honestly has the biggest target on his back, but he's probably the worst one to actually focus down versus this build. Okay, they're just going to do Lich King. Let's do that. We still have the slow, so it doesn't even matter. Lich King's dead, which sucks, but it is what it is. Still have the guaranteed slow on 2, and Diablo's strong against their casters. Okay, so it's Anduin. Let's focus down Anduin if we can. Okay, that fire stomp a lot worse than I expected it to be. Okay, so this should kill Anduin, I think. I hope. Or not. I'm gonna get close, but... Oh, damage. Because we could do the stomp, but they're not slowed, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, they just give up. Alright, let's do this. They're a more even team, so I'm assuming something like orcs, maybe? Or beasts. That's kind of a shock. Actually, this might be bad. We'll do that, we'll do this. It really depends on if they know what to focus down here or what not to. Focusing down Varden actually isn't the worst thing they could do. Getting the King Crush there, though, is pretty good. Okay, not everything's slowed, so we're going to do here next. Biggest threat is King Crush, so we want to focus it down when it's frozen. Rexxar doesn't really do much on his own, and then Mukla is Mukla. Though Mukla does scale pretty fast. Okay, Blink Fox. That also means we probably have a... What I was saying is there's a Cookie as one of the final 2. Diablo must be the final green, I guess? When in doubt, it's usually Diablo if it's a green mercenary. Oh shit, I should have attacked this. Ah, they're gonna... Okay. Okay, so we get Diablo next. Which means... do this, and then we can do that. That should kill Mukla and Rexxar. Do a bunch of damage here. Well, they killed Jaina, which sucks, but oh well. Oh, we get Cookie, I guess. They get, what, Diablo and Cookie? Oh, Tavish. I forgot Tavish existed. Let's War Stomp. Doom charge. And yeah, let's do that. Ah, right. Blink can actually copy Diablo. Oh, so they're using... That's a cool way to actually do that. Okay, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, and then we're going to do go fish. That's actually a pretty cool idea, using that equipment combination. Man, the fact that you can combo those two out like that is insane. Let's do that, that, that. I'm actually glad that we got to show that off. Okay, so they are a even team. Doesn't really matter with this build, but they are still even. We got our stereotypical setup. Oh shit, this is a mirror. Or not a complete mirror, I guess. Well, I know what I'm focusing down, and I know what they're going to focus down. I'm assuming their backup lineup is Polera, Diablo, and Cairne. I wish my Polera was a little bit better than it currently is. Okay, we're going slow. That's the safest bet. Because there's no guarantee I will get a kill on this. Oh, I guess there was a guarantee. Okay, they killed that. I'm going to put Diablo down just because we have 2 slows already. The chances of them actually swapping it up. Tavish, okay, did not expect that. That's 2 games in a row where they put down Tavish and it was not what I expected. I'm actually curious. Why use that equipment as Jaina? Ice Block seems to just be a way better. Now, am I going to get blown out of the water by their Diablo? Yeah. Okay, so let's do that, that. Because these 2 are slower than that. Okay, Diablo got targeted, which is actually what we needed. We can put down Cairne, then they'll put down their Cairne, but it doesn't really matter. Should be able to just that. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so we did kill 2 of theirs. So we have Cookie. Diablo's the next thing we need to focus down. Because as quick as we can get Diablo down, the better it is. I hate dealing with that stupid stomp. Now we get our stupid stomp. And it gets buffed. That's such a stupid interaction. Alright, now that we're through some games, let's discuss my final thoughts of the build. Overall, I would say this build is quite insane. It isn't really that big of a shock though, given the fact that most of the current meta is centered around speed manipulation, and the fact that you can snowball pretty quickly between Varden and Jaina when it comes to AoE damage makes this build actually quite strong for early game, and then being able to finish off your opponent with a well-timed Diablo Fire Stomp is pretty powerful. To be honest, this build kind of demonstrates the problems with Hearthstone Mercenary PvP as it currently stands. If you're not manipulating the speed of your mercenaries or your opponent's mercenaries, you're not going to win the match with many builds. And the fact that Diablo is such a devastating force still and remains to not get nerfed after all this time, and even after they printed a counter to him that no one is running, he is still probably one of the most used mercenaries in all of the game. If I see my opponent only having 1 green mercenary on their team, I always assume it's Diablo. It actually shocks me more when I don't see Diablo on a team than when I do see a Diablo on the team. Which is kind of weird given the fact that he's just a reference to another Blizzard game and not actually a Warcraft character at all. But it is what it is, and I don't know when we'll see a nerf to Diablo. I hope we see one soon. But overall, I would say this build also demonstrates the future potential of Jaina as a mercenary. She only has 1 additional Frost mercenary that she can actually be abused with currently in the form of Varden, since Lich doesn't scale off of her Frost damage increase. With her and Varden being the only 2 Frost-based mercenaries in all of Hearthstone, they're still pretty powerful as a duo, and it only requires maybe 1 more mercenary to actually be a standalone build by themselves. Overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with this build, and if you want to play it, go for it. It's actually pretty good. It's just going to take a bunch of time to actually level up all the mercenaries, since it does use 3 legendary mercenaries, which kind of sucks. But that's mercenaries in a nutshell. Maybe at one point I'll do some tutorials of like how to grind out coins or something. I don't know though. Until then, like always, if you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye bye.